And a big welcome into lcpioneers.com live, presented by Pios Stream, broadcasting 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. You can watch us on Facebook Live. Type in lcpioneers.com/live or follow our Facebook page to watch the program at the same time. Or you can also check us out on YouTube after the fact. All of our shows available to watch on demand at youtube.com/lcpios, as the show dates back to March 31st, continuing to keep you connected to student athletes, coaches, different members of the Lewis and Clark College community, and our alumni as well. Hi there, everyone. I'm Ryan Goff. I'm the play-by-play voice and director of athletic communications for Lewis and Clark College. We're the Pioneers out of Portland, Oregon, and competing in the Northwest Conference, a member of that 9-team institution conference from throughout Northwest Oregon and the state of Washington, and a chance for our student athletes to compete on a national scale, courtesy of over 430 institutions competing at the NCAA Division III level, and also overseas study opportunities too, something that we will talk about today with our guest, as we're excited to welcome in senior of cross country and track and field, Alexandra Coons. We'll have a chance to talk to her in just a few moments, talking about fall 2020, what it's been like, as this is the second day of classes. So our first interview since the fall 2020 semester has started. Feel for what it's been like. Cross country is practicing, so getting an idea of what practices are like, some of the things that she's expecting for her senior year, and certainly we are eager to see how things go with competition, hopefully in the spring. I invite you to get a hold of the show. You can in our Facebook comments below. If you have a question for Alexandra or any of our guests, you can always do so. You can also email us at any time, sports@lclark.edu. Let us know anyone you think should be on the show. Also invite you to check us out on Instagram and Twitter, LC Pioneers on both of those. Some big news. Excited to discuss some recent promotions for our sports medicine staff. You can read about it right now at lcpioneers.com. That is our website, as Jeremy Lowe and Tara Boatman have both been moved into new roles within sports medicine, a combined 30 years plus experience, as Jeremy takes over as the head athletic trainer, Tara now the associate head athletic trainer, and you can read about those two pieces of information, those new titles, on our website, lcpioneers.com. There's a whole bunch of information, including a reopening page for fall 2020, so I invite you to check that out as well. That's at lcpioneers.com. And so let's bring in our guest for today, a senior for Lewis and Clark cross country and track and field, but now focusing on the fall with cross country practice underway and the second day of school. We're excited to bring Alexandra Coons into the program. Thanks for taking the time to join us and give us a glimpse as our first guest since fall 2020 started, Alexandra. I'm going to start right there. What's it been like to be back on campus and kind of get things started for the semester?
It's been interesting because last time I was here, it was fall 2019, so there's been a lot of changes. All my classes have been remote so far, but I have a class tomorrow in person, so that should be interesting to see. But I'm happy to be back.
Happy to have you back, and an opportunity for you to get some practice in. Walk us through what the summer was like for you and the cross-country team, from the sense of, you had thought that you were going to compete up until the middle of August. There was going to be at least some form of competition. Then on August 17th, the Northwest Conference had to say, we're suspending all fall competition until at least January 1st. So walk us through what the summertime was like, the uncertainty, and how you kind of managed a lot of that.
So I did a lot of training because I thought, it's my senior year, gotta get in going strong. So it's a little disappointing, not being able to compete, but hopefully the schedule gets made to compete in the winter. If not, we're just gonna kill it during the track season.
Have that track season to have over the course of last spring. And we're going to talk about overseas study here in a bit too, because I know that was part of what you were doing over the course of the spring. But let's focus on last cross-country season. We've had a chance to talk to some of your teammates on the show, a chance to talk to Coach Burrow, who last year entered in as his first season as the head coach. I'm curious if you can give us a glimpse into what you remember most about last fall and some of the things that really stood out for you.
Some of the things that stood out the most, I think, was just the different coaching that Coach Burrow brought in. I think our team grew in a very positive way. We team really helped us get third in conference. So, yeah, I think just the new coaching style that Bill brought in was really helpful, and we needed it for our program to continue to grow.
Well, I mean, you guys went from last place in 2018 to a third place finish in 2019.
Yeah.
And we mentioned this in the posting for you coming on the show, a season best for you, or sorry, rather a career best for you last year. How did you feel personally? What were some of the changes that made you feel like you were able to have some more success in terms of time?
I think, well, Coach Grow, he was really insistent that we run in a pack. And I think that pack running really helped all of us stick in the race and just be motivated to get a better time. Because from previous seasons, we would all just be running kind of on our own the race, and it was hard to be motivated to go as fast as we could, pretty much.
Yeah, and the men seem to have some similar success as you guys. Give us a glimpse inside of the track and field and cross country programs from a sense of, these teams have a chance to compete at the same time. So it's not just the women's team, but you also have the men's team. What's it like to be teammates across multiple teams?
It's great because you get to know these people on such a personal level. So you have built-in friends from the day pre-camp starts to the end of the year, which is really nice. And you just get to see the growth in both the men's and the women, especially with the freshmen coming in this year. They're all great, and I'm glad to see all the new faces.
Let's talk about the dynamic of the senior class. We're joined by Alexandra Coons, senior for women's cross country and track and field. You're going into your senior year. What's it like to have some of your closest people around you on the team? How do you guys kind of plan to lead from that senior perspective this year?
It's great having all. There's 5 seniors on the team. We are on the women's side, so it's great. Really fun. I don't know. What was the other part of the question?
I was just wondering about you look at leadership and things, trying to get set up for the year. How are you planning to lead?
So we don't have any team captains, so it's really put upon the upper for all the returners, which is really nice because there's no weird power dynamic going on. But we definitely are trying to make sure all the freshmen feel welcomed and feel like they're a great part of the team and they're really there to help.
Now, when you look at this year's practices, when did you arrive on campus, and what are some of the things that really feel different about practice so far this year, and how in some ways is maybe it even the same amidst the pandemic?
So it's different because we don't practice as much with the men's team now, just because we have to practice in smaller groups. So there's a little distance to the men's team, but during workouts we get to see, which is really nice. And then we also have to wear masks during workouts on campus. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult to breathe, but everyone seems to be doing good.
What about from the idea of summer training? Were you having to do a little bit different of a regimen than you've been accustomed to in the past, or for the most part were you able to kind of keep with some normalcy?
It was a little different. I'm also from Arizona, so it gets really hot. So I would wake up around 5 a.m. to do my morning runs. But it's just the volume of training was a lot more than it has been in previous years.
Do you keep the 5 a.m. wake up times now?
Sorry.
Do you keep the 5 a.m. wake up time now, or do you no, that's against the grain, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about overseas study. That was something that you, at least for a brief moment, were able to do last spring, unfortunately cut short because of the pandemic. What was your experience like up until the point you did have to come home? Where did you go, and what were some of the highlights?
I was in Alicante, Spain, and I lived with a wonderful family, so they were very welcoming. That was really nice. They showed me around the city, so I really felt like I knew where I was. And then I was also joined by Etta, Cohen on the team, and then Marcelo Chavez. So it was really fun having teammates there. And yeah, it was just a great learning experience. We got to go to Granada, Spain for an excursion during the trip, which was really fun. Lots of history.
Ultimately, what was it about Spain that you liked the idea of being able to go and travel, learn over there?
So I'm a Hispanic studies major, so for part of my major requirements, I'm required to study abroad. And I've been to Spain before, and I fell in love with the country then, and I knew that I wanted to go back and live there.
Alexandra Coons joining us on lcpioneers.com live. We're live 11:30 Pacific time, Tuesday through Friday on Facebook Live and available on demand at youtube.com/lcpios. And you mentioned your major, International Affairs, Hispanic Studies. Ultimately, what led you to choosing those two? And if you look at some classes or professors so far, what has really stood out with your experience?
So I came into Lewis and Clark wanting to do international business, and then I realized that we don't have a business program. So I started doing political science and international affairs, and I wanted to choose between the two. And ultimately, I fell in love with international affairs. The professors were also welcoming, and then I always wanted to be a Spanish major because I've grown up taking the language in school, so I figured I might as well keep doing it and keep protecting it. And then for classes, I think one of the classes that stood out to me most was my religion and global politics class with Laura Vincent. I think that it's such an interesting topic on how religion interferes with the global politics and everything that's going on in the world. And that's actually what I think my thesis is going to be on. I don't know.
Well, I think it's awesome that you've had that opportunity in some of the classes that you've been taking. And going into your senior year, I always get pretty excited for people because I know that makes a big difference in terms of shaping what you're planning to do for the rest of your life. I mean, the profession opportunities. I know that you talked to me before we got on the air that, that's still kind of up in the air for you. You're not 100% sure what you want to do. I'm curious what kind of classes you're taking this upcoming semester. And if you can, give us a glimpse into what the first day and a half, first Monday has been like, because I know that they've had to make some changes with things remote.
So I am taking IR theories, so that will get me prepared for my thesis next semester. And then I am taking Basque culture and language, which seems pretty interesting so far. We had our first class yesterday, and the professor seems amazing, and the whole course, everything sounds really good. And then I'm also taking science fiction in Spanish, which I think should be pretty interesting. And then I have a class today with Cyrus in the IA department in Middle Eastern politics. And I'm really excited to take that class. It's going to be super interesting, and I'm going to learn a lot from it.
All right, let's talk about internship.
Called Arizona List, and we were working to try to elect women into office around Arizona. And my main part in the internship, I was the head finance intern, so I was in charge of calling all of our donors and inviting them to events and seeing if they could help contribute to the funds and select more women into office.
Well, we look forward to the rest of the year. I mean, it's shocking to see that we're already 2 days into the fall semester. It's gotten here in some ways so quick, in some ways so long because of everything with the pandemic that's been happening. Stay safe. Best of luck to your teammates training, and look forward to being able to have some competitions as early as possible in 2021. Alexandra Coons, thanks for joining us on lcpioneers.com live.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, fun conversation. She was able to join us, I think was either making a grocery run or something along the lines, had to find a spot at Fred Meyer, so stopped by and was able to talk to us, and working through some audio issues, I think, on our end, so I apologize for that, but hopefully on the recording perhaps didn't come across if that was showing up in the Facebook interview. You can find all of our past shows, youtube.com/LCPios, but she talked about her senior teammates and how critical they've been for the development of that program, in addition to having an outstanding freshman runner like Northwest Conference Freshman of the Year, Madeline Swanberg, on that team, really helped fuel the team to that third place finish last year at the Northwest Conference Championships. And no doubt that head coach Matthew Burrow, he's talked about it on the show, both his men's and women's team poised for some big things ahead, and she's been a big part of that. So looking forward to talking to more about cross country and track and field, as well as our other 17, total 19 teams, as you have 2 cross country men's and women's and 2 track and field teams with both the men's and women's teams. So looking forward to having more conversations like that through the fall 2020 semester. We'll continue to do the show on a daily basis, as we're going to have on Thursday Christina Williams, the head coach of women's basketball, join us. And then we'll talk student life. The person in charge of that is Robin Holmes Sullivan, oversees the entire student life division, and have a chance on the Friday of the opening week of fall 2020, a glimpse inside some of the things that have been going really well so far through reopening fall 2020. And then on Tuesday next week, Emily Thompson will join us. She's a former women's soccer and women's track and field student athlete, and have a chance to discuss how she got into more of, I think, the marketing realm specifically, but what she's been up to since she left Palatine Hill a couple, almost handful of years ago. It feels like maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Get a glimpse into what's kept her busy and some of the things that she was able to do post Lewis and Clark, and how Lewis and Clark has helped her along the way too. So it's been really neat to have a lot of conversations with different groups of alumni over the course of the show, and you can find all of those at youtube.com/LCPios, including 2 conversations with alumni last week. It's been a lot of fun so far. Connect with us on Twitter and Instagram, LC Pioneers, and join us again tomorrow. We'll have another re-air and then have another live show, as Christina Williams will join us on Thursday, 4 days a week, Tuesday through Friday, 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. We certainly appreciate you joining us. I'm Ryan Goff. Big thanks to Alexandra for joining us as well, and we'll talk to you again soon for more LCPioneers.com Live, presented by Pios Stream on Facebook Live and archived on YouTube. Goodbye, everybody.
I think everyone should take intro to chemistry, because the chemistry department here is phenomenal. Everyone I've known has had a good experience with everyone in that department, so I think it's a worthwhile course to take.
What is one class that everyone should take at Lewis and Clark? I really enjoyed Education in a Complex World. You kind of get to discuss all the issues that exist within education today, and you get to kind of explore that by going to classrooms firsthand and volunteering with children, which I thought was a really wonderful experience.
One class that everybody should take at Lewis and Clark is anything with Kundaichirindo. I think he definitely changed how I thought about rhetoric and media studies and just education in general.
For me, it was international affairs, just intro to international affairs, because I think it really gives a good perspective on important issues around the world.